Well, the SA Canegrowers is getting a sour deal. This is after an 8% drop in final revenue for the 2022-2023 season. Now, this is mainly a result of the failure of Tongaat Hulett to pay more than over 900 million rand due to the South African Sugar Association at the end of March 2023. SA Canegrowers Chairperson Andrew Russell has written to Minister Ibrahim Patel to request government's intervention in light of the business rescue practitioner's decision. So, Andrew, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. Good morning. But is it a good morning? I mean, what's happening with regards to the data we're seeing here for the 2022-2023 season?
Well, it is a good morning, but the sugar industry is finding itself in a very difficult place at the moment. We've been facing some headwinds for some time, and the placing of Tongaat Hulett and also now Glenhow Mill into business rescue has put additional pressure on our industry. As a consequence of the business rescue practitioners deciding not to pay their industry obligations, has meant that the rest of the industry has had to pick up those costs and, as you've said, caused a significant drop in the price that growers were paid for their sugarcane last season.
Let's talk about these violations. I mean, or rather the defaults as well. What are they in violation of exactly?
Well, the sugar industry is governed by the Sugar Act, an act of government, and it has supporting legislation called the Sugar Industry Agreement. And in those agreements, there's certain processes and procedures that are in play to make sure that all growers and all millers are treated equitably and equally. And amongst those obligations are the collection of levies from the growers through the mills and paid to SASA and paid to the grower associations. The business rescue practitioners have collected those levies, but they haven't paid them over to SASA or to the grower associations. And as a result, it's been very difficult for SASA to operate, and as well as the grower associations. There's also an industry obligation called redistribution, which is paid through SASA, and those obligations have not been paid to SASA. And as a result, the rest of the industry has had to come up with that money in order to pay the obligations that SASA has.
Yeah, and when we're talking cost to industry here, how much are we talking of?
Well, we're talking a total cost of around 1.5 billion rand for the season closed, and 64% of that has had to come from the growers. So in excess of 1 billion rand has been taken from grower proceeds.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, when we talk about this knock-on effect, definitely small scale farmers, producers will feel this. How many are affected at this stage?
At this stage, it's all growers that operate in the South African environment. So over 20,000 farmers, most of whom are small scale, and we all are contributing in proportion to the amount of cane that we've delivered for that season.
Yeah, and obviously there's a threat to livelihoods right now, as well as jobs for these small-scale, growers, as well as the workers as well. What's the impact when you talk about the results of this decline?
Well, there's 64,000 jobs in the growing sector alone, and a lot of those are threatened. The milling season for the year is just kicking off. Mills open in March and April, and the revenue that growers were expecting to get in at the end of March to enable them to resource up and open the season has been severely impacted. Some growers didn't receive any payment in March as a consequence of this drop in the RV price. So we're finding it very difficult to get started, and it's going to be some time before we can recover from this knock. We are paid in arrears for the cane that we deliver. So cane we deliver in March, we'll only get paid at the end of April. So there is a delay in our cash flow, and it is having a serious impact on our ability to be able to meet our creditors' obligations.
Right. Andrew, now that we've got that context clear, I mean, I understand that you have written to Minister Ibrahim Patel. What intervention are you seeking through this letter?
So what we'd like Minister Patel to do, who's the custodian of the legislation, is to compel the business rescue practitioners to honor those industry obligations and to meet them in order for the industry to continue to operate efficiently and effectively as it has for nearly 100 years now. And we'd also like him to find ways to assist us as growers and the other millers who have had to meet these obligations on behalf of the defaulters to be able to access finance to be able to get over this immediate financial hurdle that we have ahead of us.
Yeah. Possible legal action considered here?
Yes, definitely. So what's in question is whether the sugar industry legislation supersedes the Companies Act under which the business rescue practitioners are operating, and we need a declaratory order to ascertain whether, in fact, the business rescue practitioners have the right to suspend these obligations, or whether it is, as we believe, part of law and needs to be complied with regardless.
All right, we'll leave it then. I appreciate you speaking to me about this. SA Canegrowers Chairperson Andrew Russell, thank you so much for talking to us about this morning.